What's up, guys? It's Matt here with Tanks Lawn Maintenance. It is currently 7:16 a.m. Thursday morning, June the 19th, 2025th year of our Lord. And it is a beautiful morning, man. The sun's shining bright. I've got 9 on the list today, and I'm leaving out right now, headed to my very first one. It is on the other side of town over in West Augusta. I've got three properties in Richmond County. I'm fixing to drop all 3 of them at the end of this season. I've got enough now where I can pick and choose where I want to work, and I'm not I really don't want to go back to Richmond County. Nothing against Richmond County. I was raised in Richmond County. I have no problem with Richmond County at all. It's just that it's too far of a drive for me to go to Richmond County, man. That's a lot of windshield time. But so I'm leaving the house pretty early this morning. I normally don't leave the house till about 7:40, 7:45, somewhere around in there. I'm having to leave the house 30 minutes early to make sure I get there on time, man, because there is a ton of traffic on Washington Road and on Riverwatch Parkway this time of day. Everybody trying to get to work to downtown Augusta and trying to get to Bobby Jones Expressway to get to South Carolina and Waynesboro to go to work. But anyway, yeah, I got 9 on the list today. Had a customer text me literally right before I made this video saying, please cut the bushes. I know it's an extra charge. I hate it when somebody throws something like that on me at the last second, man. I like to get my mind right, but it is what it is. She's evidently got some vines that are starting to grow up the side of her house, and I normally keep those vines under control. What I typically do is I'll go out there, that bed right there, there's 2 properties side by side. They're rental properties and the same lady owns them, and she's an old customer, one of the very first customers I picked up, and ever since I've had her, I've always weed eated the beds because they're not bad. The beds are pretty clean. I normally weed eat them, and I really need to start spraying them, man. I don't know why I haven't, but for some reason I just never have sprayed the beds. Oh, I know what it is. She doesn't want people to use chemicals in her lawn or in her yard, period. She is half Cherokee Indian, and she said she believes in the old ways, doing things the natural way. And she knows that some of those chemicals will kill the honeybees and fireflies and the dragonflies, and she likes all that stuff, so she don't want to hurt that population. So out of respect, I just don't spray the beds. I just hit them with a weed eater from time to time. And this guy right here about took the front of my truck off. But yeah, so I'll knock those down today. With all the rain we had, evidently she's got some vines growing up the front of the house, so I'll knock all that down and pull it down and throw it out in the lawn and mulch it up. But got 9 on the list. These 9, they're pretty spread out, man. I've got 3 in West Augusta, 3 in West Augusta, 3 right on the edge of Martinez and Evans, and then 3 that are less than 5 minutes from my house in the next neighborhood down in Nob Hill. So I'll get all those taken care of today. And one of those 9, I do have a pretty good sized bush job that I got to do, so it'll probably be 5-6 o'clock before I get done today. And I've also got a pretty good sized bush job on the list tomorrow. I should be able to get that done before 1 o'clock tomorrow. Again, I'm gonna take my boys with me, and I'm gonna make them rake everything out from the beds. They still have debts that they owe, some stuff that they tore up that they got to pay off, and they're not in trouble or anything like that, but they are gonna pay. Once they get done with this, their debt will be paid. So let me get them to rake everything out the bed so I can suck everything up with the walker. But yeah, it should be a fairly smooth day today and tomorrow. Did a quote yesterday. I did not pick up that customer. They texted me and asked me if they could do pay-per service instead of year-round service, and I told them no. No offense, but my business is set up to do year-round service only, and we are a complete property maintenance company, and I have it set up to do year-round service. It's cheaper for the customer that way, and it's also easier on me, and it also helps me have year-round income. So, yeah, did not pick that customer up, but it's all good, man. Every customer is not your customer. And I understand that, so I'm not mad at all. But anyways, I was talking to a buddy of mine last night, man. He hired a guy probably a month or two ago that was looking for a job. A guy called him and asked him if he was hiring, and he did a on-site interview where you have somebody come out and mow a lawn, and you go off of what they do in that lawn to decide whether or not you want to hire that person or not. And the guy did a fairly good job, evidently, because my buddy, he's very particular about who he hires, and so he was good enough for my buddy to hire. But they were out working yesterday. It was him, that new guy, and his other helper. He has one other helper besides that. That's been with him for like 3 or 4 years now. But he said they pulled up to a property, and they had to trim some bushes before they could do anything else. And he has a combi unit, kind of like mine. I have the KM131, the steel KM131 combi. I think his is the 91 or 94, whatever it is, but it's a smaller unit, but it does really good. And he told him to grab that and put the hedge trimmer attachment on there. And my buddy grabbed a little small handheld hedge trimmer, a little smaller steel hedge trimmer, and his other helper grabbed the mid-reach hedge trimmer. He said none of the bushes were over your head. But he said in order for all 3 of them to be trimming bushes at one time, that's the way they would have had to do it. Just use all 3 of them. And of course, my buddy, he's one of those guys, he's not going to make everybody do the hard stuff and him not do nothing but sit on a mower. He does it all, he weed eats, he edges, he trims bushes, he blows, he mows, all that good stuff. He's right there with all of his help every single day, getting it done. And his newest helper told him, said, man, every time we got bushes to do, you grab that small hedge trimmer. He said, you bigger than I am, you stronger than I am. He said, why don't you grab that combi hedge trimmer and jump on it? He said, that thing's a little too heavy for me. He said, and he told him, he said, man, get that hedge trimmer and go to work, man. He said, I ain't got time for all that right now. And he said that's the first time he's ever had any issue with his newest help. But he said it struck a nerve with him. And he told him, he said, grab that combi and put the hedge trimmer on there and go to work. And he said he did, but the guy just, laid down on him, just slowed way down. And so when they got done with that property, my buddy drove to the house and dropped him off and told him to come back in the morning when he's got a better attitude. And he called me last night and asked me, he said, what do you think I should do? I don't know why he called me, because I've only had experience with one helper. And last year that help did good. This year I had to wind up firing him fairly early. But he called me and asked me what I would have done. And honestly, I don't know what I would have done, but the more I think about it, and comparing him to what I went through for 2 months earlier this growing season, knowing now what I know, I probably would have just went ahead and turned him loose, just told him to find another job, because like I said, last summer my helper did a really good job. This summer, he just had a bad attitude, man. He was laying out all the time, and when he was there, he complained about every single thing. He didn't say nothing to me, didn't say nothing out of the way to me, but he was just a cancer inside of the truck, man. Just had a bad attitude, and that bad attitude was starting to rub off on me, even though I'm the owner of the company, and that should never happen. Something that a helper does rub off on me, but it was, and I had to go ahead and turn him loose. And I told him, I said, you know, I said, I dealt with something similar earlier this year. I said, it's the only helper I ever had, and I told him the situation. I said, you know, I said, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I said, but you can give him another chance. I said, I gave my helper another chance. You know, he missed an entire week of work thinking that we were off because it was Masters Week, after we had a talk about it literally the Friday before Masters Week, letting him know that we were working. And I gave him another chance, and things didn't change. You know, it was pretty much the same old song. And I said, what's going to happen? I said, you know, you may have a different helper, somebody that is completely different, and you may have the diamond in the rough. I said, but you know, if he's as good as you're telling me he is, and he's worked for 3 other companies, why has he worked for 3 other companies, and why did he not have a job when he came looking for one for you if he's that good? I said that you know, I kind of have to question that. And also, knowing what I know, what I went through, I told myself from here on out I would be slow to hire and quick to fire. And I said, you take that for what it's worth, and you make your own decision. I said, you know, but something like that is a decision you need to make, not something that you can ask me for advice on, because you've been doing this a whole lot longer than I have. But just curious, guys, what would you have done in that situation? Would you have took him home? Would you have went ahead and fired him? Would you give him another chance? I'm just curious. What would you guys do? But yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what I would have done in that situation. Like I said, man, I told myself from here on out that I was going to be slow to hire and quick to fire after I went through what I went through earlier this season. So before you wind up getting burned or losing customers or have somebody that's just going to lay down and milk the clock on you, and you wind up losing money, spending more money than you make it. But anyways, guys, y'all drop me a comment down in the box below. And man, y'all have an amazing day. Y'all, all you weekend warriors out there, man, it's Thursday. It's almost your time to shine, man. I hope y'all get out there and crush it. Hope the rest of y'all have an amazing rest of your week and an amazing weekend. I know I'm ready to get these last 2 days over with. I am burnt out this week, man. It has been hot. It has been very muggy. It's been hard to breathe out here, man. And I done gone through just about a whole case of water this week by myself. So yeah. Well, look, man, I'm going to hop off here. I hope y'all have a great day. And I will catch y'all on the next video, man. But until then, y'all keep cutting that grass and keep making that money. I'll let y'all. Bye.